Now we're joined in the newsroom by Evening Standard business editor Jonathan Prynn, and it's not great news for your water bill, with Thames Water desperately trying to claw itself out of that financial black hole. Jonathan, what's the current financial situation for Thames Water?
Thames Water needs the investment on the one hand to upgrade its rather ancient infrastructure to stop so much filthy water going into the rivers and so on, which everyone wants. But they need extra capital to do that. The shareholders are currently saying, well, we don't believe that Thames Water is a viable investment proposition without bills going up very, very markedly. So it's a bit of a catch-22 that Thames Water can't get the extra money in without putting bills up. And of course, no one wants those bills to go up. And as you say, it does seem rather unfair.
What can we expect with our water bills in the future?
The company has been struggling with a huge amount of debt that it's built up over recent years, and is today telling consumers that to pay for any improvements in water quality and the level of environmental harm and so on, and sewage outflows and all that stuff that people feel really strongly about, bills are going to have to go up by at least 40% over the coming 5 years up to 2029, 2030, and possibly as much as 44%. Now, if they do 44%, that will be almost £200 a year more on your bills within 5 years, and obviously no one likes that.
What's Thames Water's ownership model after it was sold off?
It's been a checkered history since privatisation at the end of the 80s. Thames Water started off as a quoted company on the stock market, but bought out by a German company a few years later. And it's been an increasingly kind of complex picture ever since. It's currently owned by 8 major pension funds, mainly from all over the world, Canada, China, a variety of different long-term investors. But the ownership of Thames Water has become very complicated, lots of sort of different holding companies. At one stage, one of the holding companies was based in the Cayman Islands. Admittedly, it isn't anymore, but I don't think most people would think that, a company that's basically, has a simple purpose, making sure that water comes out of your taps at one end and making sure that the wastewater gets taken away and treated in a responsible way at the other end, should end up being owned in this incredibly complex sort of financially engineered structure. It just doesn't feel right.
Finally, on the mayoral election, you wrote last week about the mayor and his Conservative rival Susan Hall pulling out of the business-focused hustings. What was the reason and what was the reaction?
Yeah, I mean, the business community are really fed up about this, really fed up. They thought they had an arrangement that has been honoured in previous mayoral elections, that the main candidates, not just the Labour and the Tories, but the Greens and the Lib Dems, would all come and explain themselves. Business has obviously been through a really hard few years since the last election with the pandemic and cost of living crisis, inflation, etc., etc. My understanding is that a couple of weeks before the hustings was due to take place, Susan Hall's team rang up and said they no longer wanted to do it. And when Sadiq Khan's team learned about this, they said, well, there's no point in us doing it anymore. And they pulled out as well. And then once they'd gone, I think the business organisations that had organised the hustings decided it wasn't worth carrying on with, and they canned the whole thing. And they're really upset about this and feel that it's disrespectful to the business community in London. So, yeah, not a good state of affairs.
Thames Water said in a statement the company regards all discharges as unacceptable and taking action to improve the health of rivers is a key focus. And on those bill hikes, what they describe as an ambitious plan proposes a total expenditure of £18.7 billion to meet our customers' priorities, which include maintaining safe, high-quality drinking water. There's more on these stories in the Evening Standard newspaper and online at standard.co.uk. We're back on Tuesday at 4 p.m.